ADHD in the classroom is often framed in the here and now. The pupil who blurts out answers, the child who loses their pencil case, the teenager who drifts off during explanations. But the consequences of ADHD extend far beyond one lesson or even one school year. When needs go unrecognised and unmet, the impact can accumulate across childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. These long-term consequences are not inevitable, but they are predictable when systems fail to adapt. Unmet ADHD often translates into underachievement. Pupils who are just as able as their peers may leave school with lower grades because they struggled to manage organisation, working memory and regulation. This doesn't mean they lacked intelligence, it means their learning environment demanded skills that their brains found hardest to sustain. Over time, repeated failures and missed opportunities chip away at confidence. The child who began primary school eager to learn may arrive at secondary school convinced they are stupid, despite evidence to the contrary. The effects accumulate in subtle ways. Homework not handed in leads to poor grades. Test anxiety prevents pupils from showing what they know. Cognitive overload during lessons results in patchy recall. By the time the exams arrive, the pupil is not only academically underprepared, but emotionally worn down by years of being told to try harder. Perhaps the most damaging long-term consequence of unmet ADHD is the erosion of self-esteem. Children who are constantly reprimanded for behaviours they cannot control internalise the message that they are a problem. The language of lazy, naughty, or disruptive becomes part of their identity. Piglet's constant worry and Pooh's self-deprecating confusion capture this experience, always feeling one step behind, always fearing that others see them as failing. By adolescence, this erosion often hardens into avoidance or defiance. Pupils may stop trying altogether, reasoning that failure is inevitable. Some mask their difficulties, working twice as hard in silence until exhaustion forces withdrawal. Others channel frustration into oppositional behaviours, preferring to be labelled difficult rather than stupid. The overlap with emotion regulation means that unmet ADHD frequently evolves into broader SEMH difficulties. Unchecked frustration can become anger problems. Anxiety can tip into school refusal, eating difficulties, or depression. The constant cycle of trying and failing creates fertile ground for perfectionism, avoidance, or both. Behavioural consequences follow. Exclusion rates for pupils with ADHD are disproportionately high. Many of these exclusions arise from not deliberate defiance, but from unmet regulation and impulsivity needs. A poorly timed outburst, a missed instruction, or a conflict with a peer can trigger sanctions that escalate into persistent absence or permanent exclusion. Once disengaged from education, the path back becomes steep and narrow. Peer relationships are fragile when ADHD is unrecognised. The impulsive pupil who interrupts the games, breaks the rules, or dominates conversations may find themselves excluded by their classmates. The inattentive pupil who misses social cues may appear disinterested or rude. Over time, repeated rejection leaves pupils isolated, reinforcing negative self-perceptions. The 100-Acre Wood shows this in miniature. Tigger's exuberance wears thin. Pooh drifts off mid-conversation. Piglet frets about fitting in, and Rabbit loses patience. Without support, the result is loneliness and disconnection. The consequence of unmet ADHD do not vanish at the school gate. Adults with ADHD often report ongoing difficulties with organisation, time management, and employment stability. Unrecognised needs can limit career opportunities and strain relationships. Rates of mental health challenges are higher, particularly anxiety and depression. Risk-taking behaviours, including substance misuse, can also be more common when impulsivity is undermanaged. It's important to stress ADHD itself is not a predictor of failure. Many adults with ADHD thrive in creative, fast-paced, or entrepreneurial fields. The difference is whether support was available early on. The child who is given the tools to regulate, organise and self-advocate can grow into an adult who channels ADHD traits into strengths. The one who is left unsupported may carry years of unhealed frustration and missed potential. Finally, unmet ADHD is not just a personal consequence, it's a systemic one. Schools lose talented learners to disengagement. Communities lose contributors to exclusion. Mental health services face greater demand from difficulties that might have been mitigated in childhood. The cost of inaction is measured not only in exam results, but in well-being, opportunity, and life chances. None of these consequences are inevitable. They're the result of an unmet need, not the need itself. When schools adapt, reduce the cognitive load, teach the organisation skills, embed the regulation strategies, then the long-term picture shifts. Pupils leave with resilience, self-knowledge and strategies that serve them beyond the classroom. The 100-acre wood? That reminds us of this. Tigger's energy can be a joy. Pooh's meandering curiosity can spark creativity. Piglet's worry can sharpen empathy. And Rabbit's structure can hold the group together. The long-term consequence of meeting needs is not deficit, but diversity, a richer community where difference is recognised and valued.